Welcome. This is Back to the Bins. I'm your host, Mr. B. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've been here before, thanks so much for coming back, and if you're new here, thanks so much for stopping by. This is a comic book collecting channel, and I'm a comic collector. These Sunday videos are intended to showcase the books I picked up this past week at my local comic shop. I've got a pull list, so I'm pretty familiar with what's happening in comics today. I love digging through the back issue bins, and I love digging through the dollar bins. So, if that sounds interesting to you, and you'd like to join me on my journey back to the bins, why don't you take a look over here, and I'll show you what I picked up. Alright, and like I said, these are the books I picked up this past week at my local comic shop, 204 Comics in Winnipeg, and as per usual, we begin in alphabetical order, and that takes us to last week's Marvel Comics, because we're still facing those distribution issues. This is the Amazing Spider-Man number 65, a Mark Bagley A cover. Look at this. This is beautiful. I definitely gotta say, contender for cover of the year. I just love anything that reveals sort of a horror-esque image of Spider-Man. It's just super cool. Spider-Man's always such a nice guy, a nice kid, and here we see this skull, which just has this ominous look. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Stormbreakers cover from last year, maybe even the year before. I think it was the year before. That's right, 2023. I'll show that to you. You can tell me if you think it looks the same. Still an awesome cover. I love any time Mark Bagley is doing covers for Amazing Spider-Man. That's where he belongs. Super cool. Love that a lot. For an A cover, I mean, come on. But of course, all good Spider-Man issues come with a variant, and this one is awesome as well. Here we have issue number 65. This is the Carlo Pagulayan variant. I hope I'm saying that right. Super cool. Of course, here is Spider-Man saving the day. Doesn't get any better than this. Kids in a school bus. One superhero alone is saving multiple lives. Absolutely fantastic. A beautiful representation of the old web slinger here. I love it. So cool. Gotta be potential cover of the year there as well. Moving over to DC. Are you all in? Are you reading any of this DC stuff? I am. I have just really gravitated to DC over the last 2 years, and I'm happy for it. And here we have Black Canary, Best of the Best, issue number 3. This is the Saoi cardstock variant. This sort of Japanese-inspired look, I guess, is what I could say. This is how I recognize it. Super cool cover. I still haven't read issue 2. Issue 1 kind of let me down in that I wasn't expecting it to actually be a boxing match, a fight. I thought this was just going to be side adventures that Black Canary was on, and maybe more will unfold, but from what I saw, was not expecting that. I'm not saying I don't like it, I'm just saying it didn't take me where I thought we were going to go. I'm still loving this character, and I'm going to keep reading this until it, either ends or I'm done with it. But so far, very interested in this Black Canary standalone. In keeping with DC, once again, all in, here we have, just for the cover, this is Catwoman number 72. That is the Frank Cho cardstock variant. Looks like he's going to be ending this run of Catwoman. This series ends at issue 75. I think it's starting over again, and I'm going to assume it'll start over at number 1. I don't think it's going to go on hiatus, but I have been loving these covers. I'm so happy to be able to collect to 75, as that was the objective in the beginning. Super cool covers, and very happy that there's more Frank Cho. I am a cat person. I love cats, and so the representation of a handful of cats is also fun for me. I love that. You can't go wrong with Catwoman either. Again, more DC. This is definitely... Can you look at this and not say contender for cover of the year? This is Detective Comics issue number 1093. That is the Dan Panosian cardstock variant. Getting very wise to Dan Panosian's artwork. I love it, collecting it where I can. There's a lot of it coming down the pipeline right now. So happy to see that. For a while, I didn't see any of Panosian's work unless they were ratioed variants, but very happy to get this. I love the look. I think maybe what's a little off-putting is Batman's white eyes, but I don't see the alternative unless we were going to just do real eyes like Robin's, which I guess you could have given that you've already done it once, but that's okay. I still think this is an absolutely amazing looking cover. One of my favorite books, but I will be ending it shortly, guaranteed now. I promise I'm going to end this at issue number 24, but right now this is Green Arrow issue number 20. A beautiful Mike Deodato Jr. cardstock variant. I love reading this book, and I love the covers that have been coming down the pipeline, which is why I've just continued to collect it. The covers, more incentive to buy. Storyline, still fantastic. Probably up on an incline now over the last 3 issues, I'd say. But yeah, this is just a great cover. Deodato Jr. is amazing, and I'm so happy that we got one here for Green Arrow. And the way I've been seeing it, by issue 24, there's going to be another 4 amazing covers and variants. So stay tuned if you want to see more of this Green Arrow run as I ended at 24, just because I want to move on to other things. And it's just, there's a lot of comics to get had, and you can't get them all at once, so you got to make some sacrifices. Here we got some independent stuff. Very curious about this. I haven't pulled issue 2, and I don't know if I'm going to be too late to get it, but we have number 1. This is Howl. That is an Alan Morissette cover. Kind of at least on the FOC, it looked like kind of a pulpy kind of book. I think there's an anthology here. There's a bunch of stories. I'm looking forward to seeing how the art is. I like this cover, and I'm hoping that I like the book as well, because I like anthology series. There's a lot of fun going on. If this is science fiction, it's right up my alley. So we'll take a look. I'll let you know. And if this is a miniseries, could be contender for miniseries of the year. You never know. Oh yeah, awesome cover. Here we go. Right here, just for the cover. This is The Immortal Thor, issue number 19. And this is the Gerardo Sandoval Fantastic Four homage variant. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm wearing my Fantastic Four shirt today. I love the FF. They got a movie coming out. They're going to be everywhere. I told you that last week. Get ready, because FF is going to be in our lives. I love the Thing. You know that. You see him on the wall all the time. Look at this awesome, awesome book. Of course, this is a take on a actual Thor comic. I believe it's a Thor comic. I'm pretty sure, right? Isn't this the Beta Ray Bill cover? We'll double check. But yes, this is an homage cover, and I love it. Here for it. In keeping with the FF homages, here we've got another one just for the cover. This is Laura Kinney Wolverine, issue number 2, and that's a Romy Jones Fantastic Four homage variant. Of course, this looks just like the Wolverine. Is that the limited series Wolverine? That first issue? Fantastic homage here. I love this. I gotta say, the naughty boy in me wished she was giving the middle finger on either one of these hands, but that's okay. My imagination takes me there nonetheless, but this is fantastic. Great homage, and great to see Sue Storm on the cover of a book, especially being the only character on the cover of a book. Love that. Love Sue Storm. Underrated. Oh yeah, and then the shopkeep was like, hey, Mr. B, you want this? I said, sure, I'll take that. What's going on? Like, well, we're going to throw it out. Cover's completely ripped off, but for me, you know we love a good World War II comic, and this is Sergeant Rock's Prize Battle Tales from March of 1964. I believe that is a Joe Kubert cover. He does some of the art on the interiors. This is a culmination of a bunch of Sergeant Rock books, or Our Fighting Forces, I guess, maybe? Is that what it was? Anyway, another anthology of Sergeant Rock stories. Super cool to have this. I have the reprint that I think came out in 2000, but super cool to get this. A nice little freebie, and always happy to take something off the shopkeep's hands before it goes into the garbage, so that was kind of cool. Here's a book that I was really waiting for the independent stuff. This is right here. We have Shadow of the Golden Crane. I love that name. Issue number 1. Dave Stewart and Michael Avon Oeming doing the cover. Michael Avon Oeming, of course, we've talked about before, because I've already forgotten the book. He was doing that book about the raccoon. It was one of my favorite miniseries of the year. I just forget the name right now. I'm drawing a blank. My apologies. But I'll show you a picture of it. Loved his artwork. And this is my first Hellboy adjacent book, so I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a limited series as well. And yeah, I'm just, of course, it says right there, 1 of 4. Yeah. So super cool. I have nothing against Hellboy. I haven't even seen the movie. But just neat. Dark Horse For me, hit and miss, but I think I've liked most of the stuff that I've gotten, but not something I really go towards, but I couldn't say no to something that maybe was going to incorporate a little martial arts, some espionage, and a wacky character like Hellboy. I like that. And we head back over to homages right here. The Fantastic Four, once again, Marvel really monopolizing on the old FF. Here we have Storm issue number 4. That is a Mahmud Asrar FF homage variant, and I think, if memory serves, this is the homage to an X-Men book. I'm pretty sure of that. I think that should be Storm. I think. I'll show you if I find it. But again, just for the cover, not reading Storm. I just love a good homage. I love the Fantastic Four. I hope you know that by now. Can't say no to this. And again, Doom. This isn't Doom Patrol because we should actually be on the FF alert. But super cool to incorporate not only the FF, but of course, Dr. Doom. And then we get the back issue bit. No, this was Dollar Bins. This was the Dollar Bins. Here we have some of my favorites. The Twilight Zone. This is issue number 74 from November of 1976. I'm trying to collect as many of these Twilight Zone comics on Gold Key as I can. The Twilight Zone is my favorite TV show of all time. Love Rod Serling. This brand of science fiction, fantasy, morality tales is just perfect and really stands the test of time. And I just love having these stories in comic form. I think it's super cool. And of course, where there's one, there's always two. And here we have a very beat up version, but again, can't say no to Gold Key Twilight Zone. This is issue number 80 from September of 1977. Who knows? Probably a morality tale of a hunter catching the big game. The one danger he could not escape was himself. Of course. Love that. Super cool. Nice to add to the collection. And right alongside the Dollar Bins, the old LCS has these graphic novels for $5 each, or I think it's 3 for $10 or something like that. Anyway, I grabbed one and couldn't say no to this. Once again, you know we love a good war story. Here we have Garth Ennis War Stories Volume 2 from March of 2006. Like I said, this is a Garth Ennis book. Stories from 2002 to 2003 from these smaller comics. And artwork done by David Lloyd, Cam Kennedy, Carlos Escoera, Gary Erskine, as you can all see here. And I'm just super stoked to have this. I love war stories. The artwork is beautiful. I really love what Garth Ennis does for bringing about these stories of World War II. It's important to me, and I love that I get to have these stories and look at them because they're done so well. They really, really are. So glad to add this to the collection. Well, that's everything, folks. So, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. And how about we get back to the real world, shall we? Well, it was a great stack of books. Hopefully you enjoyed what you saw. And if you did, why don't you like, comment, and subscribe? It really helps to build the channel, and I'd love to develop a community of people who just really love comics. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you next week. And until then, remember, comics are good.